them the time and attention that they need?
That was one of your hardest questions that I looked through because I don't feel like I'm that great at it.
Okay.
I will say that my husband, Chris, is really good at that. And he's really good at knowing where the kids are at, like emotionally and when they need time.
Sure.
And often I am so tired out by the tasks of the day that when it comes to the end of the day, I'm like,
can't do anymore.
Yeah. So I would not say that that's a strength of mine, but I have found ways, because I homeschool, we're around each other all the time.
Yeah.
I'm finding now, I have 2 teenagers now, and so I'm new to that life. But driving them to their sports practices, that's a good time to take advantage of just like having quiet conversation. And so I have to think of a good question that will keep them talking.
Got it.
Which is really hard sometimes.
Sure.
As parents are used to being like, how was your day?
Right.
How was this thing?
Yeah.
And then, good.
Yeah.
You know.
Thinking of questions that are beyond one word responses.
You're actually really good at it. And so maybe I should start taking notes.
That comes from a good journalistic background, because
I need to tap into that.
You end up having to forcibly find ways, because when you're trying to talk to someone in a vulnerable moment, it can easily be like, oh, you want to ask them the easy questions because you want them to just talk to you. That's all you want. But if you find ways to get to know them before you start asking them questions, you know their dynamic really well. For us, it's hard because it's like we have 2 minutes to get to like be on a kind of personal level with the person. But you have a good opportunity to say, you already know your kids are more likely to share in the car when they're away from their siblings. And that's already a huge step in like learning how to ask them questions. And sometimes lists help. Like,
that's true.
List 4 things that you are grateful for today. Something you do really well is you have on your social media like your finding joy list that you do in the week.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes I find that lists help people to start, and then you get to find something in that list that then gives you like a jumping board.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have found a question because I homeschool, but my kids go to some classes during the week.
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so when I pick them up, I will say, what made you smile today?
That's a great one.
And they're like, it's my younger kids that will answer that one.
Yeah.
My older 2 are still, they're just kind of cheeky right now.
Kind of sassy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have to kind of read the car and see if they actually want to talk, or sometimes they just want to sit and ride and not have to talk.
Veg. But I think going back to the question, I think another thing that you do really well is, even if you don't always have time to be with your kids individually, something that I respect about you is that you find a lot of opportunities to get all of your kids out of the house and spend time together, like your hikes or your picnics.
Yeah.
And that's a great opportunity that even if you don't get to interact with each of them that day, they're interacting with each other, which I'm sure is going to be a huge thing that they bring into their future of their relationships with each other. They're going to look back and be like, oh, remember that one day when mom, like, she probably wasn't having the best day, but she took us to the park and we went on that hike together, and you found that frog in the lake and it was so funny. Like, you're allowing for them to have those good memories when they look back on that time.
I think that is something about motherhood that is transcendent of time, is that you always want to create good memories that they're going to look back on, and you want those memories to be with their siblings.
Yeah.
You know, that, because it's like, for me and for Chris, that's our family. And one day they'll go and they'll make their own way in the world. And I want them to have fond memories looking back.
Kind of moving on to your homeschooling element. You briefly mentioned that you homeschool your kids. So what has been the most rewarding part of homeschooling, and what advice would you give to parents considering it?
The most rewarding part is letting the kids grow at their own pace.
Okay.
I have all sorts of learners.
Okay.
And you kind of uncover what kind of learner you have little by little. That's the other thing. Kindergarten's not required. Does everybody know that?
I didn't know that.
Kindergarten's not required.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing, but people stress out when they get to kindergarten. And it's like everything starts in kindergarten. It doesn't have to.
Okay. And is this just in the case of homeschooling or in public schooling
In the state of California.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like logistics and legalities that if you're interested in homeschooling, you can find. I have one of my kids who started kindergarten in 2020. But I don't think they were ready. But we work with a charter school, And so I started her in kindergarten at the prescribed year. She has a birthday late in the year, so she would be like one of the youngest,
Got it.
in the class.
Yeah. I was too. I have a December birthday, so I get it.
Yeah, and they've changed those dates. So now if you have a summer birthday, you're the youngest. So it's
interesting.
September to August.
Okay.
I started her, and I follow the kids' lead, and when they're ready to read, then we start working on it. But it was taking a really long time to learn to read.
Okay.
And I already taught a few kids to read by then. And I used to be a first grade teacher. I should tell you that too.
Oh, okay.
Before kids. So not extensive experience, but I've taught a lot of kids to read.
Yeah.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
And so I'm realizing like it's not clicking. She needs more time. She's like a slow cooker.
Okay.
And so I had the freedom to not push her to keep up with a class.
Got it.
But had she been in a class full time, we would have had intervention. We would have had
Which could probably be really hard for a kid.
the kids pick up on the fact that like they're a special case and they need special help.
Yeah.
And then it erodes their confidence.
Yeah.
Which makes them be like, I don't know, I guess I'm not that smart.
Right.
But that's not how you want them going through their academic life.
Sure.
So I feel like I'm able to be in tune with their learning pace.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes learning isn't, well, not sometimes, all the time, learning is not linear.
Okay.
It's like you'll have a spurt and then you'll have like a plateau for a while and then you'll see a lot of growth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more organic than a lot of people realize, in my opinion.
Okay. And what's some advice for parents? I mean, I think a good thing that you said was definitely do your research. I think that a lot of parents who just want to do homeschooling that maybe don't have teacher backgrounds, they're like, oh, how hard can it be? And I think researching is a really important step for them. But what is some other advice you would give to parents that want to go on that journey?
I think that if you're going to learn at home, you need to not be so regimented that it loses the feel of a home.
Right.
Because at that point, just stick them in the system.
Yeah.
You do need some parameters or a routine. You need to find a routine that works for you, but it should be more organic and like flexible than a school, because schools are designed for large groups of people. The thing about homeschooling is every family has their own like flavor of it and like I say rhythm again, but they have their own ways of delineating, okay, it's time to do our lessons or our learning or whatever. And I've been able to like experiment with different things. Different things work at different times.
Yeah.
Sometimes I used to do a lot during my babies' nap times.
Okay.
I would do a lot with the older kids while the babies were sleeping. Now nobody takes naps. So sad. So it just changes as they grow.
Sure.
And you have to not be afraid of that change. Sometimes people are like, this works. And then you hold so tightly that you don't flex and change.
Yeah. And you don't notice how they're growing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good summary is homeschool allows you to adapt to how they're learning and growing. If that kind of thing excites you. I like to kind of figure that out and figure out what would be the best way to learn this subject, or should we learn it together as a family, or should you do this subject on your own, or
Yeah. And I think kind of speaking of that, you have some really cool ways of providing real world practical lessons for your kids. One of them, I'll tell you the story that I remember.
And I'm like, I think you might
I
have
have
an idea.
experienced one of these stories.
Oh,
so
no.
it was when I was visiting you and looking at your quilting setup. I think I brought grandma over so she could see the animals or something. And your butcher had come over. And I think he had...
I sound like a psycho.
I think he had like a pig stomach or something. And you raise animals to butcher them.
We've done that, like 4 or 5 times. We've raised hogs.
Yeah. But your kids are learning practical lessons from opportunities that no kid would ever get to learn in school.
Yeah.
So I guess what have been some of your favorite ways that you've applied like practical applications to your kids that give them a unique opportunity to learn?
It's funny that you say the thing about the hogs, because the first time we did it, my kids were 6 and under, so I didn't even have all the kids yet. And we were reading through Little House on the Prairie, and there's a chapter in Little House on the Prairie or Farmer Boy, I'm not sure which one, where there's a pig bladder and the children of the town make it into like a soccer ball or a balloon or something. So I told this butcher guy who actually, he homeschooled his kids.
Okay, so he gets
he's
it.
kind of like, gather around, children. Let me show you the intestines or whatever. I need to show you a video after this because he showed us the lungs and how they work. It was amazing.
Gosh.
It was amazing. So I'm getting like anatomy, and then I'm like, hey, guess what? We just read the chapter about the pig bladder, and he goes, oh, I'll do it up for you. So he like cleaned it out, tied it up. I'm not kidding you. And sometimes I go a little too far with the lessons. I connect too many things.
But that's so cool, right?
I'm like, when else am I going to have this opportunity? I have to do it.
Totally. And the fact that your kids are like openly like, oh yeah, we're going to have a pig bladder soccer ball. Yeah. Like, I think that's a great picture of what homeschooling sounds daunting to a lot of people, I'm sure. But your experience is a great way for people to see homeschooling in a practical way and like in an honest and vulnerable way as well. Because there are probably days where your kids don't want to do school and they think they can't because they're at home.
True.
Right?
Yes.
Or they're like, oh, but that's
or you just don't want to.
Yeah, you just don't want to. But that's like going on a day to go to the American or the Star of India is like a great way to be like, you get to do this for school. And like other kids would have to be at their desk right now with a book in front of their face.
Yes.
And that's just such a cool way for them to see like, this is actually really cool that you get to experience this.
Yeah.